How would you feel if you woke up one day and found out that your money is worth less than a roll of toilet paper? That's the harsh reality for millions of Americans who are facing the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. You might think that money can't buy happiness, but it sure can make life easier. When you have enough money to pay your bills, buy food, and enjoy some leisure activities, you feel more satisfied and secure. But when the economy goes downhill, everything changes. You might lose your job, struggle to make ends meet, or see your savings evaporate. You might also worry about the future and how you'll survive in a world where prices keep rising and opportunities keep shrinking. These economic factors can have a huge impact on your mental health and well-being. According to a recent CNN poll, a shocking 69% of Americans believe that the country's situation is going horribly wrong. That's the highest level of dissatisfaction since 2014, when the economy was still recovering from the last recession. And it's not just Americans who are feeling the blues. A global survey by Gallup found that people in 2022 were more stressed, angry, and sad than ever before. So what can you do to protect your happiness in these turbulent times, and how can you find joy and meaning in a world that seems to be falling apart?
According to new CBS News polling, most Americans, about 60%, still think the economy is struggling. That's despite many economic indicators suggesting the economy is rebounding.
How's the economy? Well, in the prior survey, 14% said it was excellent or good. Now that's up 6 points to 20%. And then those who saying it's fair or poor coming down 6 points. But don't get too excited, because this number, long run average, probably double. And this number, long run average, about half. So we still have a long way to go to get back to normal feeling.
In 2016, the unemployment rate was 4.9%. It decreased to 4.3% in 2017, 3.9% in 2018, and 3.7% in 2019. However, in 2020, the unemployment rate spiked to 8.1% due to the COVID-19 pandemic and its economic impacts. Since 2020, the unemployment rate has been gradually decreasing as the economy recovers. It was 5.8% in 2021 and dropped to 3.5% in 2022. However, the steady decline since 2020 also signals that the economy is recovering. Inflation rates also play a crucial role in the state of the economy and people's perception of it. In 2019, the inflation rate was 1.8% and public concern about inflation was low. However, in 2020, the inflation rate decreased slightly to 1.4%, even as concerns about inflation started rising. By 2021, the inflation rate had spiked to 5.4%, which coincided with high public concern. This significant jump explains why a sizable number of Americans have expressed elevated concern about inflation and the cost of living as major economic issues recently. This concern is evidenced in the fact that economic factors were mentioned by 35% of people who believe that things were not going well in the country.
I'm screwed, man.
Furthermore, the economic discontent seemed to be more pronounced among Republicans. The misery index fuses two key economic indicators, the inflation rate and the unemployment rate. Economist Arthur Okun created this index during the 1960s as a way to quantitatively portray societal distress brought about by poor economic conditions. Decreased economic activity has led to less prosperity and more discomfort, further raising the misery index. The disparity in job losses, with greater losses in lower-paying service jobs compared to higher-paying professional jobs, has also contributed to the rise in the misery index. Additionally, Americans have reduced their spending on services due to the pandemic, which has further increased the misery index this year. In fact, the misery index reached its highest level in the United States in 1980.
I only have like $3.50, so it's hard, super hard.
However, in the 1990s, there was a decline in the misery index due to low inflation and low unemployment. Today, the misery index is still used to compare economic conditions across countries. Republicans and Democrats in the United States are deeply divided when it comes to their views on the economy. According to a recent poll, 58% of Republicans and Republican-leaning individuals expressed discontent with the state of the economy, compared to 42% of Democrats and Democratic leaners. This partisan divide is further highlighted by the fact that younger Democrats were more likely than older ones to cite economic reasons for their dissatisfaction, with 91% of Republicans believing that things in the country are going badly compared to only 48% of Democrats sharing this view. It is clear that partisanship plays a big role in shaping public perceptions about the economy. 16% of Americans who are unhappy with the state of the country mention societal problems such as crime and gun violence as contributing factors. Additionally, 10% attribute their unhappiness to immigration or the situation at the border. Republicans and Republican-leaning individuals were more likely than Democrats to attribute their discontent to the economy. Younger Democrats under 45 years old were also more prone to mentioning economic reasons for their dissatisfaction compared to their older counterparts. In terms of political affiliation, Republicans cited economic issues as a cause for dissatisfaction more frequently than Democrats. Additionally, younger Democrats below 45 years old expressed greater concern about economic matters compared to older counterparts within their party. The downturn in the economy has led to significant changes in job listings, which has impacted hiring and contributed to public discontent. With fewer overall job listings, unemployment rates have increased, resulting in 52% of people citing economic factors as a reason for their unhappiness. The increase in part-time or contractual jobs means people struggle to find stable, full-time employment, leading to economic instability. The decrease in high-paying job listings has reduced income levels, leading to less spending and increased savings, further slowing economic growth. There has also been an increase in low-wage positions, forcing many to accept jobs with lower pay and exacerbating economic inequality. The state of the economy has a permanent impact on productivity in various ways. When economic conditions are poor, job availability becomes scarce, leading to increased competition for limited opportunities. Additionally, economic downturns often result in companies cutting costs and downsizing their workforce, which can lead to increased workloads for remaining employees. The stress and pressure caused by these circumstances can have detrimental effects on productivity levels. Research shows that during times of economic distress, individuals may also be more likely to experience anxiety or depression, further affecting their ability to focus and contribute effectively in the workplace. Personal income in the United States saw a significant rise during the pandemic. This increase was largely driven by federal financial assistance programs. Stimulus checks accounted for $276 billion of the growth in personal income. Unemployment insurance benefits made up $499 billion of the increase. An additional $29 billion came from the proprietor's income derived from the Paycheck Protection Program. In total, stimulus checks, expanded unemployment benefits, and small business loan program contributed over $800 billion to the rise in personal incomes for Americans during the pandemic. Despite widespread unemployment during this period, total employee compensation only fell by 0.5%. The job losses primarily affected the lower-paying service industry, and the relatively smaller impact on higher-paying professional jobs resulted in only a minor decline in overall compensation. Even in the face of economic turmoil, Americans experienced an increase in personal income from March to November 2020, primarily due to federal interventions to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on the economy. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the spending habits of Americans, leading to noticeable decreases in spending on services and overall household expenditures. With the onset of the pandemic, Americans drastically lowered their spending in the services sector, resulting in a reduction of $575 billion in service spending overall. This decrease in services spending can be attributed to factors such as lockdowns, fear of infection, and changes in daily life routines. Total household outlays also saw a sharp decline, dropping by $535 billion during the pandemic. The pandemic has clearly led to major decreases in both service sector spending and total household expenditures for Americans. As the economy has become more unstable in recent years, many Americans have adjusted their priorities and shifted towards saving more of their income. The personal savings rate in the United States has notably increased from 7.0% in 2017 to 13.7% in 2020. The rate is predicted to remain high at 13.5% in 2021. The significant rise in savings is a behavioral effect of the struggling economy and highlights the toll economic uncertainty takes on the public's perception of their financial future. This data shows how Americans have reacted to instability by saving more. The state of the economy can have a major impact on your happiness. If you're feeling stressed about your finances or worried about the future, it's going to be hard to be happy, but you can't just sit back and wait for the economy to improve. You need to be proactive about creating your own happiness. You can do this by focusing on the things that are within your control, like your relationships, your health, and your personal goals. You also need to be mindful of the impact that your own happiness has on others.
And I'm just really genuinely happy right now.
When you're happy, you're more likely to be kind, generous, and helpful. And when you're surrounded by happy people, it makes you happier too. So the question is, what are you going to do to create your own happiness? Thanks for watching.